pacing to make it so they didn't burn out so quickly.
Yeah.
Probably, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're both
Okay.
they both have time in the ring. They know what they're doing in there. And neither one of them are huge over the top kind of wrestlers.
One thing we got to say though, Cody
doesn't need to bleed every pay-per-view. He doesn't need to do this every match. Okay? And I'm going to complain here. Here. I didn't like it. Especially since the way he busted himself open, or busted it open more, was for him to fucking dive onto his face from the top rope outside of the ring. Granted, it's only the height of diving from the top rope to the inside of the ring.
Right.
But that's not smart. I think he doesn't care. I think he doesn't care because if he's not cleared to wrestle, he still runs the business.
He didn't do as good of a job as his dad, because it actually quit bleeding before the end of the match.
There was not enough blood to make it worth it, but he doesn't need to do that all the time.
No,
not every story needs to be told with Crimson.
And it shouldn't.
No. Unless MJF is going to wipe your blood up with his fucking scarf.
Yes! Bully Ray, God, he's a genius.
Right. But, I liked it. I like Cody's storytelling, and I'm going to stand behind him until he gives me a good reason not to.
That's not a bad thing.
I find it amazing that he's humble enough to, at least even for the immediate, maybe it's the year, maybe when the reset happens, he's able to challenge for the championship again.
Right, that makes sense.
I'm happy he's humble enough to step away from it now.
I think he almost has to, but that doesn't mean he has to. Does that make sense?
Right.
In the public opinion, he has to step away from it. But as Shane McMahon, the best in the world, knows, he doesn't have to. He always could just piss everybody off and do it. This match wasn't a bad match. I gave it a B+. I don't think it was a bad match. I just don't think it was. I don't think it was as good as a AEW World Championship match should be at this point in their tenure. No. That's me personally.
Do you think we're going to get that out of Jericho now, though?
I think Jericho can. I think it was all on Cody.
I don't think the title scene really heats up until he drops the belt to somebody else.
It needs to, but I honestly, just for building purposes, I hope it's not until he's hold it for a year. I want the first AEW champion to hold it for more than a year.
I'm just saying, in the last calendar year, Jericho's kind of packed on the pounds. That's affecting his body differently in the ring.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. He is not. First of all,
not what he was when he was with Kevin Owens in WWE, and that wasn't that long ago.
He's not what he was when he was wrestling Eddie Guerrero in ECW.
Yeah. He put on the weight as soon as he said, Vince, I'm going to go wrestle for New Japan. Because he got to New Japan bigger.
Well, you wrestle with Vince, you wrestle... 150 days a year? Yeah. You wrestle in Japan, you wrestle 50 days a year. It's a huge difference.
He's got like an Ozzy Osbourne bod, and it makes sense for him being a rock star, and I think that's where he values his time more now. He's been wrestling long enough, I don't blame him for that either.
He can do what he wants, and as long as people are going to pay him, fuck him, right?
Yeah. No, I think he's a good face and a good mouthpiece for your first champion, but I don't see you getting the matches you want out of AEW's title scene until he's lost it.
So what about our unsanctioned lights out main event? This is the first time. Let's talk about this. How many? Is this a? I won't even go into that. Let's save that for a different discussion. So we had the Jon Moxley defeating Kenny Omega in an unsanctioned match,
which had everything you wanted and
way
too much more.
Was it way too much though?
No, I thought it was perfect.
Or did we have fun with
it? I thought it was super perfect. I thought it was kind of risky. God damn, this match was nuts from the get-go. And John Moxley goes under the ring to get his first weapon, and I see a mouse trap there. Just a lone mouse trap. I'm like, is he going to use that? Is that going to go on Omega's tongue? Fuck. This match is everything I want in hardcore wrestling.
Even stuff you didn't know you wanted.
Right. They brought out a fucking bag of broken glass. Super
gimmicky. I wish they would have played it off a little different.
The worst thing was JR said it was ice for a second. And at first I thought that's got to be ice because they wouldn't do real glass.
Right. And they didn't do real glass.
No, but it also didn't melt throughout the duration of the match.
It didn't melt.
I was worried it was going to when he said that.
I want JR to start selling a shirt. It didn't melt. Maybe Beef Stick should sell that. It didn't melt.
JR could sell bags of fake ice, fake glass, fake ice.
What I have in here is that there are expectations that we have for gimmick bouts, and given the bar that's already been set, especially from Moxley and Janela at Fyter Fest, the expectation for this match was off the charts. And no two wrestlers can actually really usually ever meet those expectations. And Moxley and Omega did.
They did so many bad things to themselves. Omega swept Moxley's back with a barbed wire broom.
30 minutes of an orchestra of innovative violence and entertaining hardcore ruthlessness, I wrote down. And I love that because it sounded poetic.
Both these guys are so old, they don't have to do this stuff to themselves.
Oh, man. Each spot.
I don't think they're ever going to do anything like this again.
It escalated the sadistic match. There are those, Pacey, who suggest the violence was distasteful and unnecessary.
I call those people pussies.
Nope. I'm going to say those people were right. I disagree. I think they're right. It was distasteful. It wasn't necessary.
I just like distasteful things.
When a company promotes a match as being unsanctioned, and due to what we know of the history of these performers, it's what we wanted. We wanted something distasteful and unnecessary, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Right.
Moxley was on fire before, during, and after the match. He was throwing around the fuck yous and fuck this and F-bombs everywhere. He was the complete opposite of what I have written down as the, quote, wacky
when the
Dean
Shield
Ambrose said he was
on
in the
WWE.
Thank you.
I said Dean Ambrose was the Stone Cold of that group.
And he turned into a wacky Dean Ambrose. And this is what we wanted.
He was the Stone Cold of that group until Vince cut his balls off.
Yeah, this is good. This is the version of him I missed. John Moxley finally showed the world a side of him that's never been brought out of him since he left CZW, really.
Yeah.
Now, I am going to say this, Pacey. I'm going to say this. My only gripe would be that this type of match I want to see after a huge, long, drawn-out personal feud. And this is a short feud that we really don't even know the genesis of. So you're going to assume there's multiple matches coming forward. We don't even know why they're having this match other than it was on the card.
Well, I mean, Moxley attacked Omega on his debut. That started the whole thing off. They've been brawling in between matches. There's been a lot of in-between matches, like he comes in and interferes. What about Moxley putting Omega through the glass table on the first episode of Dynamite?
I got it, but listen, for a match, for this being an unsanctioned match,
their story is
that's
a
your
physical
first match. Like, that shouldn't be your first match, though, right? You got to admit that.
I get what you're saying with
it shouldn't be your first match.
Yeah,
you should build up to it. You can have all the fucking.
Don't you think Moxley wanted to come back like that, though? You know what I mean?
No, I think Moxley wanted a well drawn out and deep storyline to where his character meant something. And I think that Tony Khan said, "You like glass. I want to put you in glass." Honestly, because there's no story behind this. They haven't had a single match. You have to build up to something like this. I get that, yes, when Moxley came in, he attacked Omega. And I get that, yes, they've had verbal spars. They've had
like tag matches. Omega and Page versus Moxley and Pac. That was a match.
That was a cage match that had barbed wire on the rings?
No.
Okay, so they haven't
really. I get what you're saying. This should be a blow-off grudge match.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. This should be a blow-off match, and it wasn't. Okay. I'm not saying it's bad. I loved this match. Yeah. I have nothing negative to say about it. I'm just saying that for the first one-on-one match between these two, this should have been the fourth match, is what I'm saying.
I agree. It's a young company, though, and to draw the spark and to gain the attention, I see why they did it. But this match was fucking nuts. We had barbed wire bats, barbed wire brooms, mousetrap boards, broken glass, fucking...
Pacey, I gave this match an A, and the only reason I didn't give it an A+ was because this was their first solo match, and it didn't require this. I loved every second of it. I've got
My biggest complaint is all their cuts were too small and didn't last. This should have been... Cody's mask should have been better if he was going to bleed. I feel like they should have bled better.
And let's be honest. First of all, the barbed wire was legit, and I loved that.
Yep. There was definitely skin rips.
The sugar glass, though, yeah, they could have done something better because it really came off as sugar glass.
Mm-hmm. Throw some tacks in there or something at least. Mix something that's going to cause,
Now that's the main event. We're going really long here, Pasty, but I'm just going to say one more thing I want to say before we get into anything else. One positive I have to say. One of the most important objectives, Pasty, of a pay-per-view is to have fans want to tune in to the following episode of their show. And the fallout of all of this should definitely have made last night's Dynamite intriguing and a must-watch. And from what I've read, it was they went up from last week, so they definitely gained more viewers. So that part, it did what it was supposed to do, and I like it. I'm glad it did.
I will say I watched the Go Home show and I watched the Comeback show, and I think the Go Home show was a better lead-in than the Comeback show was a fallout. But it was solid, and it did create new things. Like, it feels like a different chapter. And that's a good thing.
That's what we want.
Yeah, WWE just does I don't care
basically?
Builds to an I don't care pay-per-view to I don't care what happens next. And that's not what we got here, and that's a great thing. And then we didn't even mention the fucking barbed wire structure that Kenny Omega had the rest of the Elite drag out. We didn't mention that at all.
Oh, fun! He superplexed him into that and all that. Yeah, it was super fun. It was a little awkward, especially when you get people out there to get you out. But I think it makes sense. A normal human can look at it and say, "Of course, there's going to be people that help them get it out."
Yeah.
Somebody who watches CZW,
think there was a lot of duct tape, like the bars were duct taped halfway up.
Stuff.
It didn't. I don't think it fell apart the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, it was good. It was good, and for the layman, it's gonna look amazing.
Yeah.
For people who watch these things, it's like, come on.
And if Kenny Omega starts, if he keeps doing this spinning out thing, he already said, where he came out as Sans on the Halloween episode, like, you're gonna lose all your friends, they're gonna go away from you, and for him to force them to drag out the structure plays into that so well.
Oh, for sure. So, what do you got for best match of the night?
Probably that one.
Okay, we're in agreement there.
Yeah, I mean, there was solid matches, but that match blows anything out of the water. That was NXT TakeOver to a WWE Big Four event. You know what I mean? Granted, it followed it instead of preceding it.